You're listening to the Bluegrass Jamboree, playing the best in bluegrass, bluegrass gospel, and traditional country. TheBluegrassJamboree.com.
Hello, and welcome to another segment of Hear It Here, heard only on the BluegrassJamboree.com. I'm Brett Smeltzer, your host of Bluegrass Retrospect, which is normally heard every Friday evening. But today I am honored to be hosting Hear It Here as I welcome on the phone my special guest and featured artist, Miss Lillyanne McCool. And she is joining me over the phone as we talk about her brand new debut CD, Back to the Ozarks. And Lillyanne, I want to thank you for being part of Hear It Here this morning, and welcome to the BluegrassJamboree.com.
Thank you so much.
To the listeners out there who are maybe hearing about you for the first time as well as your music, where are you from, and tell them a little bit about yourself.
I am from Mountain View, Arkansas, the self-proclaimed folk music capital of the world, but I've grown up around music my entire life. My family is not only musical, but the community that I've grown up in is musical as well. So I've been surrounded from a very young age just with music all around me.
I would like to first of all say congratulations on a job well done, as well as this album's debut status on Airplay Direct's global radio downloading charts. I'll try to go through this as quick as I can. It debuted at number 4 on the top 50 new album releases on December the 30th, 2020, and it moved up to number 1 on December the 30th, as well as the number 12 through number 1 spots of the top 50 singles in 2020. Currently, as of January the 10th, 2021, it held the number 1 spot again for the top 50 albums and is holding the number 2 spot for the top 50 bluegrass folk albums. As of Sunday, January the 10th, 2021, you've held several positions for tracks from this album in the top 50 singles in the bluegrass folk category. And what a way to end 2020 and start out 2021. And that is not to go without mentioning an awesome album review by John Lawless, which is found on BluegrassToday.com, as well as Bluegrass Today's Facebook page, which was released on January the 7th, 2021. I would think that it is safe to say this album is off to a very good start.
Thank you. I've had a lot of support over the years, beginning when I was very, very young and playing. It hasn't just been until after this CD when I really realized how many people support me and how much they make a difference.
What got you started into wanting to play banjo?
Well, when I was about 6 years old, my mama tried her best to make me into a fiddle player. She had done the same thing with my brother, who is 11 years older, and we just kind of put it aside and we didn't play fiddle for a long time. I started playing banjo. Banjo was my first instrument that I really played, but I don't really know why I chose the banjo, if I'm going to be honest. Part of it could be out of spite, because the banjo is often seen as the complete opposite of the fiddle, but besides that, I'm not really sure.
Do you play any other instruments besides the banjo?
Yes, sir. I play a little bit of upright bass and a few things here and there. Pretty much anything with strings I can figure out, but banjo is my main instrument.
And I understand you're from a very talented family. If you don't mind my asking, who are the members of your family and what do they play?
Well, my mom plays upright bass. She started on fiddle, but now she plays bass mainly. My dad plays bluegrass banjo, and my brother plays mandolin.
Did your father belong to a band that may have influenced you to pick up the banjo?
Yes, he belonged to quite a few bands before he married my mom, but the one that I remember that I've grown up experiencing was a bluegrass gospel band named Lift It Up.
Okay.
And them playing in my living room are actually some of the earliest memories that I have. That's the main band that I know he was in.
Okay. But currently he's not playing with anyone now?
Not really.
Okay.
We have a band sort of called Blue Trail, but it's not active right now.
I got you. Alrighty. And I also understand from reading in the album review of Bluegrass Today that you are also a 2018 National Old Time Banjo Champion. So congratulations once again to you.
Thank you.
Was this your first time entering and your first time placing first, or have you been in the competition before and maybe placed elsewhere other than first? Or do you always place first?
No, I definitely have not placed or have placed second or below. But my first banjo competition was the Arkansas banjo competition, clawhammer banjo competition. I competed in the junior division, and I won first that year, and the same place in the second year that I played. So I was kicked out of there, and then I had to play in the other division, which is the open division for all ages. But between the 2 years that I played, I won first, the first year that I did the open division. The second year I did not, but that was actually the year that I did win the national competition, which is kind of strange. You would think that state would be below national, but
Right.
it's what it is.
I gotcha. Now, as far as bluegrass artists, mainstream artists out there, who were your influences as far as banjo? Where you heard them for the first time and thought, wow, I want to play banjo?
When it comes to bluegrass banjo, I tend to sound more like my father. He would play for me when I was a little girl, and I would just be mesmerized by it. So when it comes to bluegrass, I would say he is a big influence, and he is basically a reflection of Alan Strickland, who is another great banjo player. So for clawhammer banjo, my influence mainly would be Lucas Poole, who owns his own banjo company here in Mountain View, Arkansas, but also Adam Hurt as well. I love both of their playing.
All right, let's talk about the debut album, Back to the Ozarks. What inspired you to want to record an album?
Part of it could be seen as a symbol of coming of age. I'm going to be 18 in February, but I can't really say that I was the main force behind the recording of Back to the Ozarks. My mom was the main force behind it actually happening. She had been tossing the idea about a solo album to me for a very long time, but eventually one day she just said, I'm booking this date for the studio, and we're going to go in and record a solo album. So get your songs ready and let's go record. But when we went into the studio and we started recording, I began to realize that there was a deeper meaning to it.
Who are the musicians that are heard on this album? Are any of them your family members?
Well, I have a great many people on the CD. I have my family, which is my parents, and my brother who plays mandolin. His name is Jared. And I also have Mary Parker playing fiddle, as well as Emily Phillips playing fiddle. Mary plays bluegrass and Emily plays old-time fiddle. So I kind of needed both of them in there at different times. And also, I had Turner Atwell playing guitar and Clinton Johnson playing mandolin when Jared wasn't available.
And when did you say you started to pick up a banjo and play?
When I was 9 years old.
9 years
school.
old. Okay. So you've been on this banjo doing an extraordinary job for almost 9 years. Good for you.
Thank you.
There are some great harmonies heard throughout this entire CD. Who is accompanying you on the vocal tracks?
I was either singing harmony to myself or my mom was singing harmony with me, for the most part. On the first track, Hop High, Mary Parker is doing the lower harmony part. But on the very, very last track, the song called When the Music's Done, I am singing harmony, but my mom is sharing lead with me also. We both sing lead on that song.
This past Christmas, you received a gourd banjo, fretless banjo. How is this particular instrument different from a standard fretted neck banjo? Other than its looks, how is it different?
The gourd banjo represents more of what you would see in the 1800s, or before they had metal strings and metal parts to instruments. It's kind of like what you would see some of the slaves playing in the old pictures, and it has just a different sound. It's more plunky, it's more not as bright, and I like both instruments really, but to play a gut string banjo, a gourd gut string banjo, especially when it's fretless, it's just a different experience. It has a different feel.
Okay. And who out there would the folks know, or we may not know, they may not know, who have you heard play a gourd banjo that made you want to say, oh, I want one of those?
I think the first time I saw someone playing a gourd banjo was at the Swananoa Gathering. I don't remember the name of the man who was playing it, but they did have a banjo exhibit there, and they had a gourd banjo that you could buy tickets for, and there was a drawing for it. I obviously did not get the gourd banjo, although I really wanted it. But he was the first person I saw playing it, and so ever since then I loved it. But also, Adam Hurt has a album, I believe, where he only plays a gourd banjo. And to me, that is amazing.
Wow. Now, are there any tracks on this album where the folks would actually hear you playing the gourd banjo?
Yes, sir. On the song Whole World Round, you will hear me and Mary Parker playing at the end. First, I am playing my regular banjo, but then I will be playing my gourd banjo along with a record scratch, just to kind of, I don't know, give a feel of like the old field recordings that everybody studies and tries to learn from.
A vintage sound.
Yes, very, very vintage.
Gotcha. Now, when you say cat string or gut string, I'm sorry. I think a cat gut, which were like the type of strings in a tennis racket. What are these gut strings? How are they manufactured? What are they exactly?
Well, I don't have genuine gut strings, but I do have nylon strings.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
They kind of mimic gut strings, I would say. Definitely not completely original, but it's the closest I can get.
How many tracks are on this album, and how many originals are included on Back to the Ozarks?
There are 12 tracks on the CD. 6 of them are original, and of the other 6, 5 of them are traditional American folk tunes. And one sounds like an American folk tune, but was actually written by the Dillards. The Dillards are a very popular band in Mountain View, Arkansas.
And are all the originals written by you?
No. In fact, the other 6 are originals. They're written either by me and my mom, or by my mom and my dad. My mom wrote the song Raining in the Ozarks, and my dad wrote the song Behold the Lamb.
Well, let's talk about the first track, which is also the title track of this album, Back to the Ozarks. Could you please tell the listeners what inspired you to write this song?
The entire Ozark region was the main push behind it, but further into this song, you'll realize that it's really concentrated on the town of Mountain View and its uniqueness overall. It's about how people on the weekends will just flock down from the hills into the square and just play music and sing, and practically everybody knows the songs. And it's just a very tight-knit community, and you can really feel the family sense in it. People that you don't even really know will start to feel familiar to you just through the music alone.
Well, with that said, let's go on ahead and play the title track, Back to the Ozarks. This is from the brand new debut CD from a very talented and extraordinary banjo player, Miss Lillyanne McCool, and it's heard right here on the BluegrassJamboree.com.
I can hear the Ozark hills a-calling, humming through the trees, no familiar melody. It captures my memory and soothes my heart, going back to the Ozarks. In my heart I long to go where the wide river flows, down where the leather woods grow. And though I'm far away, I still hear the music play, a fiddle and a banjo keeping time. seems to me like leaves upon a breeze, abundant as the friends who sing along. You can't hear the mountains echoing our song. I can hear the Ozark hills a-calling, humming through the trees, an old familiar melody. It captures my memory and sends my heart going back to the Ozarks. I can hear the Ozark hills a-calling, humming through the trees, an old familiar melody. It captures my memory and sends my heart going back to the Ozarks. Going back, going back, going back to the Ozarks.
And we're back. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Hear It Here, heard only on the BluegrassJamboree.com. I'm Brett Smeltzer, talking with my special guest and featured artist, Miss Lillyanne McCool, and we're talking about her brand new debut CD, Back to the Ozarks. For the listeners, could you please tell us about the Ozark Folk Center State Park and your involvement with that organization?
The Ozark Folk Center State Park was established in, I believe, the 70s. And ever since, it has been a center for learning and showing the old-time ways through music, through crafts, or really just pretty much anything. Every aspect of life can be seen back in time. And it continues today, and I played there really exactly my entire life. And I actually took my first steps on that stage. My parents played there, and my brother played there. Me and my brother have both done the square dances there. Every show opens with a square dance with a live band playing music for them. And my niece was there quite a few months back, and she was watching me and my brother up on stage dancing, which was kind of neat to me.
Your mom, Crystal McCool, who we are pleased to have joining us in several of the shows on the Bluegrass Jamboree. I think what even started my friendship with your mom, it was the day after Christmas. So I was tuned in to Ron Ackerman's show and later Rita and Tim's show every December 26th as my wife's birthday. So as a tradition for her, I always make French toast. That's a little birthday breakfast thing for her. But I had a colleague tell me on Christmas Eve to try eggnog French toast. I'm tuning in. Your mom chimed in, letting me know, wow, we need to try that. So I was letting her know that I would add an egg or two to the recipe. So we kind of hit it off, and I thought I would be friends with her on Facebook since we're going to see each other in the chat room. And this is when I noticed that she also was affiliated with the Ozark Folk State Park. Also, I noticed that she had a band up there. Well, I thought it was a band that she was in, or I thought it was her kids, or your brothers, for that matter. And I noticed you playing banjo. So I was just asking her, is this your band? And I had no idea until scrolling down later in her page that you had an album out. And then I heard a couple cuts from it, and I thought, wow, we need to talk to this young lady. This is awesome. So I had no idea about you or your music, but I'm so glad I connected with your mom back here shortly after Christmas, and here we are. I may not be clear on this. Is this like an educational type of establishment where you're kind of giving musicians the exposure? Is that how that works? Or is it just a place to jam?
No, I mean, sometimes people will jam like behind stage, but the Ozark Folk Center Theater is meant to portray the music and the dance of days gone by.
I got
And
you.
so people, they play around there, but that's not the true meaning of the establishment.
Gotcha. Now, do you ever have mainstream entertainment at the Ozark Folk Center?
We hold a bluegrass festival semi-annually in Mountain View, Arkansas. It is a huge event for the entire state, really, and it is held in March and November. And if you want to come, you better book early. Me and Mom are on the Bluegrass committee that's over the Bluegrass festivals there. And we are almost always completely sold out of tickets. And there's only standing room left.
Wow.
We've had Bill Lawson, we've had Rhonda Vincent, Special Consensus, and Blue Mafia, just to name a few. Of course, we didn't have the Bluegrass Festival late last year. We did in early March, like right when COVID hit. This coming March, we're not going to have it either. But before all that happened, the year before, in 2019, Ashley got to do a duet on stage with Becky Buller to the tune of Mississippi Sawyer.
Wow.
Becky Buller is a clawhammer banjo player as well.
I think that the folks out there are going to find that this CD is just loaded with wonderful tight harmonies and great instrumentation. I love the song selection covers that you folks included in this album, as well as the great originals. Do you and your mom have more original songs that may not have been included in this CD, but you plan on possibly doing a follow-up CD in the near future?
Well, I don't foresee us doing another recording for a good while.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much longer it'll take for me to do another CD. Me and Mom do have other originals that are not on the CD, but I don't know when we'll be doing a recording, and even then, I don't know if we'll be doing those particular songs on that recording.
To my understanding, you are honing in your clawhammer style skills on a song entitled Last Chance. Is this an original written by you?
No, sir. This is actually a traditional song.
Okay.
And to give you an idea of how old it is, it's popularly done, or maybe originally recorded, by a man named Hobart Smith, who was born in 1897, but he actually learned it from his uncle, and he doesn't know where his uncle learned it from. So it is a pretty old song.
And how did you come across it?
I was looking for contest tunes, and I believe the first person who taught it to me was Lucas Poole, and he taught it to me and also taught me some other stuff to do with it. And I played this in the Arkansas competitions. I also played this in the Nationals the year that I won.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Mary Parker is on fiddle on this one as well, and she does a fabulous job of this song. This song, although is old time, in my opinion, has a very bluegrassy sounding drive. It's very, very strong, and I would love to do a square dance to it, but I'd want to be the one playing the song at the same time, so
Gotcha.
I'm not sure how that would work out.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take a listen to Last Chance. And once again, this is from the brand new debut CD, Back to the Ozarks. Here's Lillyanne McCool showcasing her clawhammer style banjo, along with Mary Parker on the fiddle. And it's heard right here on the BluegrassJamboree.com. All right, and we're back. And once again, you're listening to Hear It Here, heard only on the BluegrassJamboree.com. I'm Brett Smeltzer, once again with my special guest and featured artist, Miss Lillyanne McCool. And we are talking about her brand new debut CD entitled Back to the Ozarks. In regards to the CD, how can the listeners go about acquiring the CD? Do you have digital outlets that they can go to, or do you only have this available as a hard copy, or both?
The CD is available both digital and hard copy. If you want a hard copy, you can contact either me or my mom through Messenger on Facebook, or if you want to download it digitally on a device, you can go to iTunes, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and Spotify.
Alrighty, and we're going to try to squeeze in one more track here before we sign off here, and this one's entitled Behold the Lamb. Would you like to tell the listeners a little bit about this one? And also, this is an original to my understanding.
Yes, sir. It was written by my father quite a few years ago, and it was recorded by Lifted Up, that band that I mentioned earlier. Actually, during that album's recording, fun fact, I lost my first tooth, and they stopped the recording so everybody can come in and see my new tooth. But
okay.
The song is really neat to me because it talks about the crucifixion and also the baptism of Jesus Christ, but it's told through the view of an onlooker, just the common man. And for me, I think that is very relatable. You know, you have songs that show those events through the eyes of Mary, through the eyes of Joseph, and even the Roman soldiers who were carrying out the crucifixion, but I've never heard any other song that shows it from that perspective. And so, in my opinion, it makes it a more intimate feeling as the song is being sung.
It's a beautiful gospel number. Before we air that, I want to thank you, Lillyanne, for your time to sit down and talk with me. And as I always say to my special artists and featured guests on the BluegrassJamboree.com, I wish you much success with this album, which it seems to be doing just that. And I wish you and your family safe travels and all that you pursue musically. We'd love to have you back again to discuss your next CD right here on the BluegrassJamboree.com. Folks, be sure to check out the album review found on Bluegrass Today, and be sure to get yourself a copy of Lillyanne McCool's awesome debut CD, Back to the Ozarks. Thank you once again, Lillyanne, and it was certainly a pleasure talking with you today.
Thank you. It was certainly a pleasure talking to you, too.
And here's Behold the Lamb, an original gospel number written by Lillyanne's father, Jackie McCool, and it's heard right here on the BluegrassJamboree.com.
I saw the prophet out in the river. He said, repent, for the kingdom is at hand. And I looked to see who was beside me. It was the carpenter's son, a woodworking man. And I thought, this cannot be the man that this preacher is talking about. Then I saw the prophet out in the river, lift up his eyes and cry a mighty shout. Behold the Lamb, behold the Lamb, behold the Lamb. I saw him baptized in the river. Then the Spirit descended like a dove. And I knew this was the Rock of Ages. Then a voice shook the ground from up above. Behold the Lamb, behold the Lamb. the King of Kings' own precious blood. Behold the Lamb, behold the Lamb, behold the Lamb. Behold the Lamb, behold the Lamb, behold the Lamb.
Well, folks, that wraps up another segment of Hear It Here, heard only on the BluegrassJamboree.com. Tune in and join us again for more interviews from some of your favorite bluegrass artists. I'm Brett Smeltzer, and until next time, take care, be safe, and God bless. So long, everyone.